Denial goes a long ways. Nobody ever shook me and said, Gloria, you need to do something because your kid's going to die. David was a great kid. He was my social child. He was athletic. He would play with small kids and talk to old people. I mean, he was just a likable guy. He was very open with me. We talked about drugs. We talked about sex. I didn't have concerns about hard drugs. So his senior year of high school, he had his wisdom teeth out. That was the first time that he had ever been given a narcotic. And then he had some complications from that, and there's more pain, so he was given double the pain medication. In May, he has an emergency appendectomy and more narcotics. And I'm just trying to get him fixed up and send him off to college. So he went away, didn't come home a whole lot that first semester, which didn't bother me, it didn't surprise me either. And then he came home for Christmas. And so he had lost about 15 pounds. And he wasn't a big guy to begin with. He was thin, unhealthy looking. So he was changing, and I noticed needle tracks on his arms. And I was horrified. And so that was the first time that we had that conversation. He was already using heroin that he had gotten in college, because Percocet and other narcotics like that are difficult to get, and you can buy a bag of heroin for about $10. So I pulled him out of college. I started going through that process of getting him some counseling, telling him he couldn't live with me and do drugs. He had to go into rehab, and he did about 8 weeks, and he was home about 2 weeks before he relapsed. And that was probably when my denial started going away. You know, the blinders came off, and I knew that this was going to be something for the long haul, and it was going to be tough. But if love could have saved him, he would be alive. So every time he relapsed and he had to go through withdrawals, I had to sit with him and keep him from using drugs and go through withdrawal before he would get back on track. Terrible to have to go through that. So I came home from work one day, and there was kind of some sketchy guys there, and I asked them to leave. And they weren't gone long before I realized that he was really messed up. You know, he was nodding off, and, you know, I knew that I didn't know what he used, I didn't know how much he used, but, you know, we had been through this before. I put him to bed, and I laid there next to him like I did, make sure he was breathing okay, and did we need to go to the hospital or anything like that. And while I was laying with him, I found some fentanyl patches, the kind of pain patches that are for severe pain. You know, it's 100 times stronger than morphine. But in large doses, fentanyl will make you stop breathing. So I found those patches, and I thought, best of my knowledge, I had everything. So I went back to bed, and at about 3 o'clock in the morning, my dog woke me up. So it was his dog. Unusual. He was just, you know, a bedroom down from me. So when I went in there to check on him, he was sitting up. He was cold, and he was blue. I thought about doing CPR, but I knew that he was so far gone already that there wasn't anything I could do. So I found out later that he did have a fentanyl patch, and you're not supposed to be able to get the whole dosage out of it. I mean, that's one of the safety mechanisms of the patch, is that it releases slowly. Well, the person who had given him the fentanyl patches David knew his drugs. I don't think he knew what he had. I really don't. And they told him to smoke it. That's what he did. He smoked it. And when you smoke it, you get the full dose of it. So basically, he never had a chance. Never had a chance